This is the Ink Pulp Podcast. This is the Ink Pulp Podcast. Comics, hip hop, life.
Man, art school is just crazy expensive. Like crazy. Like hundreds of thousands of dollars crazy. To study art. Which, it's kind of like setting you up for failure. Or just starting off with everything working against you. For an artist to make the kind of money they need to make to pay back the loans on something like art school, there are very few artists making that kind of money. Of course, we all dream of making it. Stick to it. Make it happen. But, and then the other thing is, there's a lot of motherfuckers teaching art who don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Welcome to the Ink Pulp Podcast. Today, I have two of my students from back in the days when I was teaching at an art school. So we're going to talk about that. They're doing, they're very successful in the world of comics, but they're still, and I mean, I'm in the same boat, still struggles happening, different for everyone I talk to and for me. But this was a nice little trip down memory lane with two students who I hold very dear. They were awesome to have in class. They were awesome to watch develop, and they came in with talent and a drive that was damn impressive. But getting back to art school, so what if, just imagine, you could, let's say you want to be a comic book artist, and you could go buy instructional videos taught by the best of the best comic book artists out there. And those videos were like $20 to $40 a pop. You could learn how to do comics for very little money compared to art school. And that is Ink Pulp instruction. And that shit is going live this week. The Indiegogo for my first Ink Pulp instruction video. First one's with me. I got guests coming and all that jazz. But today, let's talk about this podcast today. So we have Domo, Stanton, and Cara, McGee. Both brilliant young cartoonists who are doing their thing and doing it well. Impressed to see how they've survived. You kind of like, you get into comics and then you kind of realize it's like Armageddon. It's like Mad Max up in this bitch, where you got to survive. I mean, you got to figure it out, and it's hard. They're doing it though. They're doing well. Proud of them both. I was really happy to have them on. I've been wanting to do a podcast like this for a long time. I'm gonna do more because there are quite a bit of my old students who are now practicing professionals. And I'd like to hear what their perspective was on the days when they were in school. I was a good teacher. I stand by that. But I fuck up too. And I can own that shit. I wasn't perfect. I know there's things I would do differently now. But I stand by the education I gave them, and it was it's something I have that I'm also good at, not just drawing, but explaining how and why I do what I do. And I also have a very curious mind that studies art constantly, and I've got a depth of knowledge up there. the lead at. I do. So yeah, I got big hopes for Ink Pulp instruction. My goal is to kind of change the game on art education when it comes to mainly comic books, but beyond areas of animation, areas of illustration, tattooing. I think all of these studies come into the study of comic book art in certain degrees. But I am going to be branching out to bringing other people in, and I definitely want to touch on graffiti art too. I'm hype on that too. So yeah, just listen. Yeah, there it is. One more. Got him. Enjoy the podcast. Two students of mine. Go follow them on all their social media. They're kicking ass. I love them both. And please check out my social media at Inkpulp, INKPULP. And on there, I'll be promoting the Indiegogo for my first Ink Pulp instruction video, which I am hype on. So leave comments, like, subscribe, do your thing, and enjoy. Peace. All right, so I've been wanting to actually do this for a little while. I think have on some of my students from back in the day who are kicking ass right now.
Yo.
And you two are kicking much ass. But I was telling Domo, and I want to tell you, Cara, I'm starting an educational business, like how to draw comics business, and it's going to be all like videos, downloadable videos I'm making.
Oh, dang. That's awesome.
Thank you. So, you know, I there's so much I want to talk to you guys about, but Domo was. I'll talk about that later. The first videos of me, and that's been shot, and I'm going to start an Indiegogo for that in October 1st, and the first, like, let's say 10 videos or so will be focused on traditional inking, and then I'll expand from there. But I'm going to record Tommy Lee Edwards in 2 weeks.
Oh, nice.
In October, I'm going to record Kennedy and Mahfood, and I'm building out from there.
So with these recordings, like, what exactly are you going to be doing?
Well, each video I'm calling an episode. And what I want to do is capture like the entertainment factor of like a good cooking show, like Chef Show on Netflix. Have you guys watched that? John Favreau show? Right. So you watch that, but you're also learning about cooking while you're watching. So there's going to be an instructional element, like a much more instructional than Chef Show. But there's also going to be an element of my podcast to it where there'll be interviews, and I want you to get a picture of I want you to learn a lesson from the artist, and then I want you to get a picture of their life. So I want to shoot in their studio. I want to go out to like their favorite restaurants and film like a little bit of us there and shit like that.
Nice.
So it's going to be like
so good.
Thank you. We'll see how it comes out. But so that's got me thinking a lot about teaching and stuff, and got me thinking about you guys. And I've been wanting to do this, been wanting to have both of you on for a while. So let's start here. Tell us what you guys are working on. Cara first.
Right now, both of the things I'm working on right now are unannounced. One is kind of a sci-fi action-y comic that is really out of my traditional wheelhouse since I'm mostly known for doing YA stuff.
And that's good, right? You wanted to get away from YA stuff?
Oh yeah. I don't know if I want to get away from it so much as like I just kind of want to like stretch my legs a little bit and do other stuff.
Sure.
Definitely. So I'm having a lot of fun doing that. I just finished the first issue literally yesterday. So I'm really
Can you
excited.
say who it's for, like publisher-wise, without saying
Uh,
what it is?
yeah, it's with Comixology.
Okay, cool, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Um, and then you said you're working on something else too?
Yeah, and the other one I'm supposed to get the scripts this week, and that's for a YA series, but it's for a pretty major license that I'm really excited about.
Nice.
Okay. And
Yeah,
is that through a book publisher or digital publisher?
that one's through book.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think I could say what publisher without giving too
Okay.
much away.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
But it's YA, but it's still pretty actiony, so I'm
Hmm.
excited about that one too.
Nice.
Okay, awesome. And Domo, tell us what you're working on, and then I got some questions for Cara. And then I'll have questions for you. I mean, all right, then hold on. Let me ask Cara some questions.
Yeah.
All right. So, Cara, you've been working a lot for digital publishing, correct? Or not a
Uh,
lot, but a good bit.
a good bit. Like for a long time, I was working on a series for Webtoon, and unfortunately, that was going to be my real first non YA thing. That was my first pitch that ever got picked up that I had written and all
Oh, you
that.
wrote that one.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
Um, Unfortunately, we had to cancel that one for various reasons. So that one's not going anytime soon.
Are you
But
able to talk about those reasons or no?
um, it's I mean it there were some conflicts with the writer, and
Oh,
it
okay.
was it was just kind of a tricky situation all in all. But I got all the rights back for the story and everything, because what happened, because again I say
Right,
the
but you,
pitch
right.
was one I wrote and I came up with, and then when they actually accepted the pitch, I kind of panicked at the idea of having to write an entire series.
Oh no, Cara.
I
Damn.
know.
Oh,
So I had a writer come help me, and unfortunately that didn't work out. So now I'm like, well, maybe this is a sign that I should have just done it all myself.
yes, it is a sign for that. You should know that.
Mm-hmm. True,
You should
true.
know that.
I know, I know.
Do you like working for digital publishing? Like you enjoying
Yeah,
that platform?
yeah. So far, so good. It's definitely, especially with Webtoon, it it takes a while to kind of get used to their format and how they work, because it's not pages, and I got so used to writing and drawing and planning pages out via like page turns and things like that,
Right.
where with Webtoon you have to think about your pacing with people scrolling and like how fast they read online, which is very different from reading a book.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely, there's a learning curve to it. It's a hard to just kind of jump in. And Comixology I'm liking because it is page turns.
Right, because they operate like a traditional comic, not a webtoon.
Hmm.
Right. Okay. All right. Okay. So now, Domo, tell us what you're working on.
So I just recently finished up a short story for DC Comics featuring Swamp Thing, and also worked on a story featuring Cassandra Cain, who is the fourth Batgirl
Yeah.
in the I guess Batman series of superheroes.
That's so cool.
Is she popular, Cara?
She's
Not as much as she should be.
yeah,
What's so cool about her? I don't know anything about her.
She's kind of a badass little punk, more or less, in
yeah,
most of her iterations.
she's like a ninja type Batgirl character. Like she's she's Barbara Kane, but well, no, she's not Barbara Kane at all,
Wait, is she
actually.
the Batgirl from the like early 2000s in the all black?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I know who she is.
but she's not Batgirl anymore.
So what does she do in the Like how? So how do you tell a story about her? Like, what are you telling a story about?
She still fights crime.
Mm-hmm.
She's just not Batgirl anymore. Now she's just a badass ninja.
Oh, she's okay. So she's still suiting up for battle, just not as Batgirl.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
Was Cassie? She was in Birds of Prey, right? She was the little girl in Birds of Prey. Am I remembering that right? The movie.
I haven't seen it actually.
I haven't seen it either.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
y'all,
I feel like I let you down, Cara. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
y'all, it's so good.
Is it really? I feel like DC hasn't done anything good
I mean,
in the movie
honestly,
realm.
yeah. The only reason I saw it is because it was Black Canary, and I was really excited about that.
Right,
But,
right. Because you were working on that.
yeah, and I thought it was very entertaining for a DC movie.
Okay.
How was that, by the way, working on Black Canary?
It was fine. It was fun. It was fun. I like the character a lot. It was very different from working with any other publisher I've worked with before.
How so? Can you talk about
Um, I feel like I don't know. They were very rigid and rightfully so.
it? Mm.
Yeah, everyone I worked with there was really great.
Just
I'm only
very
gonna say good things.
like particular
I'll say bad
about.
things. I can say bad things. I have a lot of bad things to say. It's not fun working for these companies anymore. They're so corporate.
Yeah, that's the one problem. You kind of feel like a cog is the problem. It's like, well, all right.
Yeah, that sucks.
to to be honest, I got that feeling more from animation than I do in comics.
Yeah.
What do you do in animation, Domo? In animation, you are a cog. I mean,
Yeah, 100%.
it's,
100%.
I
100.
mean, yeah, on
Is
that
there more
regard.
than 100%? Yeah, no. In animation, I worked on Archer for
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. That's right.
for
Yeah.
like what, 2.5, 3
Yeah,
years?
you are
For a while,
absolutely a
yeah.
cog.
Yeah, for real.
But
Like,
you don't I didn't get into comics to be a cog.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, but that's the thing. I've never personally felt like a cog in comics.
That's good.
Like I guess like with the stories that have been offered so far, I've never had an experience of like, except one time where like the publisher was bearing down on me to do exactly what they wanted. You know what I mean? Like
Right,
for the most
right.
part, I've gotten a lot of creative freedom with everything I've worked on.
Yeah,
And
DC's been really good to you.
the funny enough, the one thing that I got like really hounded on was something that was never even going to be published.
Oh no.
What?
Because I drew an inventory Superman issue,
Yeah, I remember that.
and they had Andy Kubert editing me.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, wasn't he like in charge of helping new talent develop at the time?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
and I think he, for the most part, like sort of still does, like him and Klaus.
Right. Oh, okay.
Um, but yeah, like I had drawn a Superman issue, which like I am not a fan of Superman at all.
Yeah,
I'd
I'm not either.
never drawn him before that issue. And it kind of
I
blows me,
can't even
like
imagine.
not even for a commission. I'd never drawn him before.
Oh my god.
So I struggled just to get his look down.
Oh my god.
But you know what though? The weird thing about it is that like as much trouble as I went through drawing that issue, like you're supposed to normally take like what, a month an issue, like, you know, hypothetically 6 weeks. I think
Mhm.
it took me like 3 months to draw that issue. because of because like it was a weird concept because I would draw something and I would send it to the editor who would have to send it to Andy, and then Andy would take like 2-3 days to get back to him, and then the editor would finally get back to me, and it was just like it was a whole kind of cluster.
Wow.
But I mean, at the end of it, I feel like as much as I went through with it and getting like Andy's notes and like kind of going through that process of kind of hating the whole process, it actually made me want to draw Superman more. Is that weird?
No, that's awesome.
You like abuse.
Right? Like,
You're like a
like
masochist.
I felt like strange about that. Like I was like, huh, why I'd never in my life ever had any aspirations of drawing Superman, but after this experience, like I kind of want DC to give me a Superman book now.
They should. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like with Black Canary, during the whole process, it was great. Like they let me get away with more than I thought they would, like designing the look of Black Canary and like drawing Wildcat like really sexy in my
Nice.
eyes and all
Oh,
of
you
this.
got to draw Wildcat? That's
I
cool.
did, yeah, for like 2 pages. I was very excited about that. Um, and it was great. What kind of was disappointing was when the book was released. The whole time I'm working on it, I'm like, I really want to be part of promoting this book. I want to like go to the stores and like really
Mm,
talk it up, and I felt like there was just no promotion that happened for it, and I was like, oh.
Well, I mean, I spoke to you during this time, and this is a big problem I have with the publishers right now, is they make the writer the star,
Mm-hmm.
and the writer really is doing like not like the amount of work a writer does compared to an artist is crazy how much more an artist does, but it's also the artist is the one telling you the story,
mhm.
Yeah.
and they treat they I don't know, they just treat the writers like they're the star and we're just there to serve the writer, and that I have an issue with.
That's kind
Yeah.
of fair. I will say that. Like even when I got a chance to draw Sandman, um like there was a lot of publicity that went out, but most of the publicity starting out featured the writers like hanging out with um
Neil.
Neil Gaiman.
Oh, see,
And
that is some bullshit, man. Oh, it
yeah,
infuriates me
even like
doing this.
in like the at the very first promotion at San Diego Comic-Con when they were starting to announce everything, and they invited my writer Nalo Hawkinson, amazing person by the way. I love Nalo to death. Um, but they invited her out, flew her out, put her in a hotel and everything. And like at first, I didn't know if I was going to be able to go, and they were like, "Oh, okay, no worries." And they had like all of this like interviews and like panels and stuff featuring Nalo and everything. But if I didn't go, they were completely fine with it. I ended up being able to go, so like I could get in on the interviews. But if I hadn't gone, like they wouldn't have really cared.
That that
Yeah.
that's a major problem.
Yeah.
Major problem. Yeah, I can't be cool with that. So, I mean, Domo, you were asking me what I was working on, and I was saying I haven't really worked in comics in probably about 2 years now, and sitting back and like seeing how the industry is working and not getting work and all this stuff, it's it's kind of rough to see that, hear that, but it's true. I mean, this is what they're doing now.
So
Mm.
what was the last thing that you worked on?
The Juggernaut annual
And that was
that came
2 years
out
ago.
2 years ago. It, I was working on it exactly 2 years ago. Right
Mhm.
now, yeah. So it's been a while. But I want to know from you guys what. So you both were students of mine at SCAD. We should kind of tell this story a little bit, I think.
Mm.
You both majored in sequential art and had me as a professor for a lot of your classes.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
like 90%, I think.
What?
Like 90% of my
Yeah, Cara.
classes.
Yeah, Cara, you definitely did. So what are your thoughts on art school and
Oh no.
what? Why oh no?
Honestly, Sean,
Yeah,
like I think I say this to you every time I see you, and like you kind of sweep it under the rug, but like it's true. I don't think I would be where I am right now if it were not for you, like in general, like period.
Hmm.
Like I personally was lucky enough to have you as a professor. Otherwise, like my SCAD experience was horrible. Like
okay.
honestly, like
I appreciate that. I don't agree. I think you'd be where you are without me, but I appreciate it. What it was horrible?
I didn't learn anything. Like honestly, I think if I wasn't still, I graduated in 2009. I went to SCAD in 2006. Now 3 years, right? That's weird. So I originally went to ACA, Atlanta College of Art.
Right.
Hmm.
And then Atlanta got bought out by SCAD because Atlanta decided after 100 years they fulfilled their commitment to society, I guess, and decided to close. I don't know what.
I'm sure
So
SCAD had some bullying involved in that.
I don't
Yeah.
doubt it. I don't doubt it. And so Atlanta ended my freshman year. So my sophomore year, I went to SCAD, and that's when I met you. That's when Tommy and David introduced me to you. So
Right.
so
Right.
then after that, like, I went through my education and everything through SCAD. So I feel like I graduated in 2009. I'm still paying off school loans. But and if I wasn't to this day still paying off school loans, I might have felt a lot better about my SCAD education. The thing is I feel like the school itself did nothing for me and my career, but I feel like there's a sense of they want to claim it, but they did nothing for me. None of the resources I got to get to where I am came from the school. Everything came from you. Like down to the point of like honestly, a lot of the stuff in the curriculum that you guys were teaching, most of that stuff I already knew. I even like I don't know if you remember, but like I would fight you all the time on like stuff you were teaching.
I don't remember you being combative like that.
Yo, like all you don't remember? Like I was like, yo, penciling is where it's at. Like screw this ink and stuff. Like the stuff you're talking about, like I already learned. Like I was always like kind of like, I feel like you're telling me one thing, but I learned this other thing from this other person, and I believe this other person. Like I don't you know what I mean?
You're talking about at first when you first met me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
But then it was you breaking into Marvel at the time that really gave me a lot of education because
So
before that I'd never seen anybody break into like a professional company. Like it's one thing to say like, yeah, you just got to put a portfolio together and then talk to these people, talk to those people, but it was your interactions with Marvel and even like a lot of the artists that you brought around, like it was your interactions with um other professional artists and editors that helped me see something different that it was kind of like an aha moment, like, oh snap, like in this world of professionalism, like, this is a huge example here. And you did it, like you were doing it, you know? And
Right.
it was something that really put a spark in me, like, yo, this is important. Like I really started paying attention at that point. And it was like a lot of the other stuff that was being taught, like I was getting from books anyway. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like anatomy, perspective, page
Right.
design, composition. That stuff I was getting from books anyway. Like I did so much work outside of what you guys were teaching me and outside of the school in general. But like it was when you were breaking in, and then I was also getting sort of like a business education from a couple of my friends who had been doing conventions for a while. So I feel like honestly, if it wasn't for you, I don't think I would have found the success that I have.
Well, I appreciate that, but I think you would have. Okay. Um, do you mind sharing what your school loans look like every month?
Well, right now we're in COVID days, so they're looking non-existent, kind of
Right.
like not paying. But like, I've been paying recently about 400 a month.
Yeah.
And how long do you think it'll take you to pay it off?
Another maybe 10 years.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, I mean, honestly, that's one of my motivations for starting this business was that right there. Now, you are a successful out of school comic book artist, both of you, and that's rare. I mean, I think in our program,
Mhm.
we had a good success rate,
Mhm.
but even then, it was like, out of your class, maybe 5, 6 are working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a small
That
class to begin with though. Like when I graduated, I think in our major, it was literally only me, Tommy, David, and Joy.
Right, 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 right. Okay. Okay, so out
And
of my
out of us, I'm the only one.
right. All right, so out of my tenure at SCAD, I think there's maybe 10 of you all that are working
Mhm.
in comics.
Right.
I mean, some are working in other areas, but in comics,
How do
maybe.
you feel about that?
Me?
Yeah.
I think that's great. But my
I
point was
I feel like that's a pretty high success rate
that's my
considering.
point. Like
Yeah.
maybe I taught like 300 students and
Mhm.
no, well, undergrad only. Let's say undergrad. Well, no, undergrad grad too. Let's say 300, and I
Mhm.
can say 10 of them are in the industry.
Mhm.
That's extremely high for the amount of time like when I was at SCAD. So, I look at all these students who I was so personally invested in, and I see like I know the struggle of that loan because I have it too.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Um, and I just don't feel right about art school, especially like, I mean, that was my motivation as a professor was like, we really shouldn't be charging this much to study comics. It makes zero sense
Mhm.
Yeah.
because you'll never make that kind of money to pay it back.
Right.
And so I was like, I'm going to do everything I can to at least give you the best education while you're here and help you get work
Mhm.
while
Mhm.
while you're here. So that was my motivation. But now I'm like, if I could put together a series of these videos
Mhm.
and offer the ability to get an education in comics for, let's say, at absolute most, you get a whole bunch of videos and they're $2,000. I mean, I'm talking of like I'm charging like 30, $40 for videos. So
Right.
you could get, I think, a better education
Right.
for a very affordable amount of money.
Right.
I think like what Domo was saying, I think as far as going to SCAD goes, what I got out of it. Like I have a hard time recommending art school to anybody now because of the cost. It's just not practical.
Yeah, I feel the
especially
But
in
same way.
2020.
but I don't. That's the thing. Like I don't regret having gone simply because you, Sean, especially, kind of like Domo was saying, you taught me how to get work more
Hmm.
than anything. Like I learned
Right.
about how to talk to and approach other professionals and editors, how to put together a decent portfolio, what should be in that portfolio.
Right.
That's I think that's the major thing that most people need if they really want to get into comics is knowing those connections, you know.
Right.
I mean, not
Right.
Yeah,
even necessarily the connections, but like how to establish yourself.
I think that's the big thing is like I don't regret school because of the interactions. Like I think the memories are the biggest thing. Like the friends I got to get to know
It was the
in
friends
those
we made
years.
along the way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The experiences that I had while I was there. So
Yeah.
it's
Mhm.
like, you kind of you kind of you have to really put that into consideration. The thing is that art school, at least in my experience, they never taught me business.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true.
And that was I honestly got some of that from you offhand, even though you may not have realized it. Like,
I
you
didn't
know,
because I think I'm just starting to figure out business shit now.
but like,
Please make that a video.
I
right.
am. No, I'm gonna do one on marketing yourself. Yeah, I'm gonna
Hmm.
do all that. Yeah.
Dude, whenever, because I've been invited back to SCAD a few times now to talk to students, and pretty much everything I talk about is how to sell at conventions and marketing yourself and
Right.
being on social media and all
But
that. Like,
Cara, you
help.
came into SCAD good at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, but that well, I'm lucky that it is something I'm fairly good at, and I didn't really need to be taught it. But there are a lot of students that need that.
Yeah.
Oh
No,
yeah, I needed that. How did
it's
you get good at that, Cara? Before, I mean, you got good at it in high school. Is that right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I feel like it's a generational thing. Like I feel like especially with with women maybe like we just late like women my age, we kind of just grew up on the internet and like forums and
Right.
reading comics online before everything else. So
Right.
we kind of it's all self-taught.
Wow. Well, yeah,
it's
that's
awesome.
awesome.
Hmm.
That's really awesome. So, what do you guys think of working in comics now? And I mean, I want you to speak freely, but I don't want you to hurt yourself. I don't mind saying anything, but I'm curious where your head is now.
Well, I mean, like I was saying earlier, like I so far, I've only really had clarification throughout my entire um tenure, I guess. This year, actually, in December, will be my 10th year working in comics professionally.
Nice.
In
Wow.
comics,
Oh my
yeah.
God. I am so old.
But like I so far I've just I'm very observant when it comes to a lot of things. And I definitely feel like company wise, there's a certain way they treat artists. Like I chased Marvel for the very first like 5, 6 years that I broke into comics, and Marvel would do this thing where, like, when they need you, they'll call, and then once they're done with you, that's it. Like you don't hear from
Right.
them,
Right.
and you don't know where you stand with the company or
Yeah.
anything like
Dude,
that.
after what, 10 years there, I couldn't get an email
Hmm.
just saying, sorry, man, we don't have anything.
Right.
It
Nothing.
really, yeah, it's really
There's no loyalty.
None.
Um,
I worked with for, every day for like years.
mm-hmm,
And even like just reply.
right.
But go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. And that kind of put somewhat of a sour taste in my mouth, considering like the relationships that I felt like I built there.
Yeah.
And I know you like definitely relate to that.
Yeah, for sure. Sure.
Whereas like with DC, it's it's been kind of the opposite. DC is still kind of new to me, but I feel like since day one, I got hooked up in DC was probably in 2015, I want to say. So the way I got hooked up with DC was actually through June Brigman. Um, I love June so much; she's the best of all times. Um, but Marie Javins, who is now the editor in chief
Yes.
at DC,
Yes.
at the time was working with Ben Caldwell on a series called Prez, Prez.
Right.
Mm,
And if you know Ben, he's one of the most prolific cartoonists of our
He's
time, I think.
brilliant.
yeah.
Yeah, his work is absolutely beautiful, and like just his the way his mind works, like his storytelling is insane. But he's also slow. So Marie reached out to June to see if she could do a fill-in issue for for Ben, and June couldn't do it because she was working on something at the time, and June knew that I was out of work, so June reached out to me and asked if I could do it, and like that was like it right there. Like I accepted, I did the work. Marie loved it. After that, Marie started looking out for me, which is something that I never got at Marvel, where like the very first opportunity that arose was the 2017 um what is it, the art um camp thing.
Right. Now, hold on. Back up a second. What I want to talk about here, and this is a testament to your character. After having worked at Marvel for 4-ish years, is that safe to say?
Sure.
After having been a pro at Marvel for that amount of time,
Mm-hmm.
work had dried up for you.
Mm-hmm.
You then applied for the new talent search
That's
at
what it was. Yep.
DC,
Mm-hmm.
got in and went. And my advice was against that.
Mm-hmm.
But it turned out to be the smartest thing you probably could have done. But
Mm-hmm.
it speaks to your humility that you weren't like, I'm a pro, I don't need that shit.
Mm-hmm.
So good,
So
good on you.
the funny thing about it was when Marie first reached out to me about it, I was like, nah, I don't think I need to do something like that. Like because my thing is that I hate contests. Like
Right,
Mm,
right,
anything that smells contesty to me, I'm like, I'm not about it. Like I'm not about that whole like American Idol, like,
right,
you
right.
know,
Earn your shit. Earn your
right,
shit.
thousands of people apply, only three get in.
Right.
Like I'm
yeah.
like I hate that type of stuff.
Me too.
But it was funny because when Marie reached out to me about it, she's like, "Hey, so we're having this talent thing. Like, you should sign up." And that's what I told her. I'm like, "No, I'm not really into that." And she's like, "Hey, sign up." I was like, "Okay."
That's cool. That's good, man. I'm glad she looked out for you like that.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
and like ever since like I did the program, I went and they liked my work, they gave me Sandman. Well, first before Sandman they gave me Superman, the inventory issue, then they
Mm,
gave me a Catwoman story, then they gave me Sandman. um and like when I'm not working, I get an email like, "Yo, how you doing? Like, are you available right now? Like, let me see what we can do." Like, they actually actively reach out to me and like have been looking out for me in terms of like
Well,
keeping me
that's fucking awesome.
working.
That's
Yeah,
really cool.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So
yeah.
But
that's the company taking care of you, which I felt a complete lack of after a while for me.
Hmm.
So I'm glad to hear that they are doing that. So you're just happy you're happy doing the DC thing, right?
Yeah, yeah. But the thing is that like because of you actually and like a lot of other pros like at now I've been working in the industry for you know as long as I have like I definitely recognize the fact that despite the company you know putting forth a lot of effort into me right now, I know that's not going to last forever, right?
Right,
And at the same time like as an artist who works freelance, like you have to think about your future.
right.
Like, you know, I'm not gonna be able to do the 4 week deadlines my entire life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't do that. I can't.
my
um,
current contract, I made it so I have 2 months on each issue, and I'm so happy.
nice, nice.
Yeah, I kind of got just totally tired of trying to like sacrifice quality to meet deadlines.
Hmm.
Yep.
I don't want to do that at all anymore. Yeah, go
Right.
ahead, Domo. Go ahead. You were saying.
Yeah, no, it's just that like I felt like trying to think of ways to grow my brand as an artist has been really important for me as well
Right,
just recently because I think and you can probably both of you guys probably can relate to this but like I feel like by the time I broke in the industry, a lot of things changed in
yeah,
terms of how you break in, how you
yes,
stay in,
yes,
how
Mhm.
you gain popularity as an artist. Like I find that now the internet is so prevalent
yeah,
and like the amount of likes and follows and stuff you get can almost be like you know a currency
yeah. It
in
is
in
absolutely
this industry, you know.
for sure.
So that's kind of why I started my Twitch channel.
And have you noticed your Instagram grow since you started that?
I started streaming in March 2019
Yeah,
and I had probably like 1,500 followers.
on
So
Instagram.
on Instagram.
Yeah,
Now, a year and a half later, um, I think just a couple hundred from 5,000.
nice,
Nice.
nice. All right, good.
So yeah, it definitely has helped. And I lately I've just been looking for more ways to kind of raise my stock.
Yeah, I'm doing the same.
Um,
I mean, my thing is like, wait, if I can really just connect with my fan and audience base directly, I can just do things and offer it to them directly, like no publisher. I can just be a fully independent entity.
right.
Yeah.
And so that, I mean, well, Cara's here. You've probably got more followers than Domo and I combined times.
Right. True.
Well, even so, like I feel like I don't have a very large following
How many,
comparatively
how many
on
Instagram followers do you have?
Instagram.
Yeah.
About 7,000.
Oh, I
Nice.
would have thought a lot. So I got more than you.
Well, see, that's well, that's
I'm
the thing.
kidding.
Like I
But
for
what
the
about Twitter, Cara? What about Twitter?
Twitter's a little over 13,000.
Okay, you
Nice.
got me beat there by a lot.
But the thing is, I need to be, and I recently started focusing more on Instagram because Twitter is just so toxic in so many
Right.
ways,
fair.
and I'm kind of over trying to be, because a big part of it is being social and
Right.
like playing that game, and it gets I got so burned out after Black Canary, just like both artistically and like socially. And so like
Right.
this past year especially, I've just kind of tried to take a step back from social media a little bit,
Right.
but then refocusing on Instagram instead, where I feel like I can be a little more creative and engage more with an artistic community. But
Nice.
Right.
I also, like, again, I've felt so burnt out artistically. I kind of feel bad because I haven't had any art to really share or promote on there in
Mm.
a long time. So I'm trying to get back into doing that and like figuring out how that platform works and just being creative again for the sake of being creative and not for the sake of getting a paycheck.
Right.
That's
Yes,
fair.
and that's a big part of me wanting to just find my audience, because I just felt like I wasn't able to give my creative best
Yeah.
under these publishers, like schedules and attitudes and
Well, that's the thing. I kind of feel like, again, in like 2020, with how prevalent the internet is, like you don't even need the publishers anymore
that's what I'm
to
saying.
to gain, like, success
Right.
as a
Right.
freelance artist. Because, like, when I was first starting out, the sort of game plan for everyone was you got to break into Marvel or DC first,
Right.
and you
Mhm.
gain your fan base that way, gain popularity,
Right.
then you
Right.
could take that fan base to whatever creator owned endeavor that you so
Right. And
choose.
that's the world I grew up in, and that's why I taught that to you.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It is not that way now.
It's not that world anymore. Yeah.
No, no, no.
I
Yeah.
One of the best choices I've made, I think, for my career was getting a agent a few years ago when I did a book with Chronicle, because I just didn't know how to deal with contracts outside of comics. And
Right.
I kept her after that to negotiate all my comic contracts too. And she's been so great, and she has been pushing me with all like the non-comic publishers like Random House and Scholastic and all that, which has been
Yeah. That's a
really
that's a
nice.
good place to be. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you still work with this agent?
Mhm.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she's really good. The thing I hate most about doing comics is having to read contracts and
True.
like figure all that out.
Hmm.
So she does all of that for me. She like, yeah, it's great. And then
Very good to have. Yeah.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I go through pitches with her. Because she does a lot of literary books, is her main wheelhouse, but she's really good about reviewing pitches for me and figuring out where to send them and stuff. So yeah, having her has been a huge help.
And where does she? What agency does she work for?
Morheim
Okay.
Literary,
Okay.
Kate McKean. They
Awesome.
Sick.
She did like Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, I think. I'm terrible. I don't really know.
I know that one.
Yeah, Kate's really good, and I think one of the reasons I signed with her is she reps a lot of people who kind of go viral on the internet and and have books that way.
Nice.
So she's great. And she's doing more comic people too now. I think do you guys know Trung Lee? Trungles online?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Yeah, she's repping him now. He's got a book coming out with Random House.
What about Gabriel Piccolo?
I don't know if Gabe has an agent or not.
Oh, you're on Gabe terms with him?
Me and Gabe were cool.
Oh snap!
I got to meet Gabe a few times
Oh,
during
okay.
Comic-Con and New York Comic-Con stuff while promoting.
I
Cara's
mean,
a rock star here.
I was about to say, like, I knew I was in a call with the famous Cara, but I didn't know I was in a call with the famous Cara. Like, holy crap!
No, I'm nowhere near on Gabriel Popolo levels.
I don't even know who that is. I'm sorry.
he so he's one of like probably the biggest like artists on social media currently.
Yeah, millions of followers.
Like literally with an S.
Yeah,
Wow.
he's doing the Teen Titans stuff for DC's YA right now because that's how he got his millions of followers, is all
Yeah.
of his Teen Titans fan art.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he got millions of followers off fan art.
Yep.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yep.
That's how I got all my followers. That's why I'm drawing fan art right now. You're on this call.
Because Zoe's doing a lot of that, and she's worried that that will like not like help her professionally. But I'll have to tell her otherwise.
Nah.
Oh
I mean,
no, fan art will get you jobs.
that's the thing is like, used to be, you had to put together a portfolio, go to a convention, hope that, there wasn't like a giant crowd that knew about the portfolio reviews that Marvel or DC was giving so that you'd have a better chance of getting your stuff seen.
Right.
And like, hoping that the editor you meet was, cool enough that likes your work that, you might get a chance to get a call back. Whereas like nowadays, you literally just put like fan art and dope art on Instagram, Twitter, like whatever social medias. And a lot of times the editor will find you like through social media and you'll get work from that.
Wow.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I'm the franchise that I can't talk about doing anything for yet, I posted fan art of it and they really liked it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Same thing for for Marvel, I did a Moon Girl Devil Dinosaur story.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that.
And I got that because I had done a couple of Moon Girl fan arts.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it was just like I was just randomly feeling like drawing Moon Girl like one day, a couple of days, and then they reached out to me like a couple of days later.
There you
Times is a changing, man.
go. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to grow everything myself as I
Great.
sit here and
What?
do fan art.
So how are you like? What are you doing to kind of push yourself these days?
On social media?
Just in general, like what are you doing to try to grow to?
As an artist,
Mhm.
I'm going through a lot of growth right now as an artist.
Yeah,
Uh,
you've been killing it lately.
thank you,
Mhm.
thank you. I'm giving myself permission to take the time I need to do it. I went through a really, really bad, long, many-year depression, I think, and I came out of it. Like I did a lot of work and came out of it,
Mhm.
and I had lost the joy of like drawing every day.
I
It was
didn't know
just a
that.
job. Yeah, and then I would never had I was never able to support myself with it like the way I needed to, having a family and all.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just drawing to get deadlines done to get paychecks and still struggling. And it was just so when work kind of dried up and I was depressed and I took a big self inventory and then I started really working on myself and I was like, I have to start finding the joy again in my art because I could I actually you guys don't know this. I applied back to SCAD.
Oh wow.
It
I
got
actually
really bad.
remember I was listening to one of your episodes,
Oh,
Ink Pulp
okay.
episodes.
Okay.
You talked
Yeah.
about it, yeah.
So that was really hard and depressing the interview was so like, it was so clear to me. It had gotten even worse since I left.
Oof.
Like, I'm going to be unhappy for the rest of my life just teaching at this school.
Yeah.
Right.
I was like, I can't do it. And I just said, wait a minute. I had been beaten down. I didn't even realize I had the skills that I had anymore. So I was like, wait a minute, Sean, you're good. You've got skills. You've got knowledge. Put it to use. What can you do? And I just started making a list of anything that came to mind that could make me money using my artwork. And I just started putting like energy into each one of them a little, as much as I could.
Mm-hmm.
And I started making some money, and I started making not good money, but I was working less and making more than I had in comics. And so
Wow.
my whole plan was to find a way to make a living and make enough money that I could do the comics I want to do the way I want to do it. And over the past few years of exploring all these ideas, I mean, a big idea was to do this educational business, but I've just kind of like really discovered like I want to just be fully independent
Nice.
Yeah.
and figure out how to survive that way.
Mm-hmm.
But finding the joy again in my artwork was a big part of it. Allowing myself the time to study as I'm working instead of just getting it done.
Yeah.
Was a big part of it.
Nice.
And so that's all that's helped me considerably.
Having like going through that like kind of depression right now myself, like just not
Oh.
finding any joy in my work anymore, or like having the time to appreciate doing art. Like
Right.
it's really encouraging hearing and seeing you coming out of this and
Mm-hmm.
really producing some really amazing work lately. So
Right.
I honestly just appreciate you being open about it and talking
Same.
about it.
Oh, well,
Same.
thank you. Yeah,
And
I mean,
that's kind of why. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was about to. That's kind of why, like on my streams, I really like. I have a command in my channel pointing directly to your podcast
Do you really?
because
Thank
I
you.
do. Because the stuff that you talk about on your podcast, I feel like is very important for a lot of people to know. Like, I think, especially like a lot of young artists come to my channel, and even in like at conventions, like I would talk to some people and they see like, you know, what we show them. They see the kind of celebrity quote unquote aspect of it, like they
Right.
see the fandom, they see the books coming out with your name on it, and they think
Right.
like, you know, like, oh man, this is a cool life, like I want to do
Right.
this, but they
Right.
don't see the struggles behind the scenes that, like, you know, trying to make a living uh doing this type of work as a freelancer, as a father, as a husband, as, you know, somebody with mental health issues, as somebody like, you know, who has a dream but it's not going their way. Like I feel like a lot of the stuff you talk about on the podcast are so important for people to understand about
Hmm.
history. Um,
Yeah, I mean, it's not an easy way to live doing this
mhm,
for
I've,
sure.
I've definitely, I've had other pros and peers like kind of not come at me aggressively, but like tell me that I overshare too much on social media, which is probably true sometimes. But I also have a lot of people, a lot of young adults and teens and stuff will come to me at conventions and be like, "Hey, I just really appreciate you being so open and honest about when you struggle and all that." I had it was really cute. One year at Emerald City Comic Con, it was a year my mom was actually there helping me out just because she kind of wanted to see what it was all about.
Oh,
And so
that's
it was really cute. And this this guy, he's probably 15 or 16. He came to the table and he brought me a huge plate of Rice Krispie treats. And then he was like, I know these are, I know you have Crohn's disease and I know these are safe for your stomach. because I have Crohn's disease, and hearing you talk about it and what you go through has just helped me a whole lot. And my mom like broke down crying.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
I was like,
that's
oh,
sweet.
this
That
is
is so sweet.
Well,
so
yeah,
it's beneficial to kind of air this
I
stuff.
agree. I
sometimes.
agree. And I mean, what I've realized lately is if you choose a path of positive thinking, your
Mhm.
life will turn for the positive.
Mm-hmm.
And it's absolutely true. And that's what I've been really kind of focused on. Like one of the things I said was I want to start a side of my business where I'm working with a bunch of rappers that I love
Mhm.
on projects that I love and like living that sort of lifestyle of like going to recording studios and going to concerts like backstage and being involved creatively on some level.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
I put that thought out into the universe and literally within a month I was starting to get contacted by at first some smaller acts that I did, like really small, like I had no idea who they were, but was happy to work with them. But very quickly after that, one of my favorite rap groups of all time contacted me,
Oh wow.
and then like a week after that, I've become kind of friendly with Killer Mike. So like a week after
Yeah.
that, he called me and was like, "I have this big project that's got you all over it."
Sick.
That's so
So
That's badass.
so here I am now. Like you asked me what I'm working on. I'm building that educational business. At the same time, I've been working with the Far Side. That's the rap group I talked about.
mm.
Since right before COVID hit, we have weekly Zoom meetings, and I've been working on that project with them. And we've become like very friendly. And this podcast is now on their network as well.
Nice.
That's so cool.
And so we're about like 75% of the way through that project. And it's not just doing a cover. I can't say much because we're
Right.
keeping it hush hush till it comes out. But
Sure.
it's big. And it's
That's
going to
awesome.
involve a lot of
I'm
different.
excited.
And then on Saturday, I was down at Stankonia, which is the recording studio that Outkast
Mm-hmm.
owns,
Oh my gosh.
and was in there with Killer Mike and Cuz Lightyear. They were sampling me this new record they're doing, and we started talking about the project I'm working on. So it was just us three in that studio on Saturday night.
Sick.
What a
That's
life, man.
dude. That is
Well,
so
but that's
cool.
what I'm saying is I stopped thinking negatively. I started thinking positively. I put like action to my thoughts, and it just starts to happen. And so
Yeah.
here I am. I'm not seeing any money from any of this yet.
Right.
Right.
But I'm also confident that all of these things are going to be really big financial successes for me.
Right.
That's awesome.
So, and then that's going to allow me to do my own comics too. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, positive thinking. It's important. It's powerful.
Please- Tangentially related, please tell me more about the Blood and Crips cola.
Oh, okay. So if you watch Killer Mike, he has a Netflix series called Trigger Warning, and it's
Okay.
kind of like a docu-series. It's really awesome. It's fun. It's funny. It's worth watching. But one of the things he did was he wanted to help the Crips in the area of town he's from and grew up in
Mm-hmm.
have a legitimate business. So he thought about you could put your drug dealing skills to use in selling soda. So he helped them develop, like they show them cooking it and making it in their kitchen.
Oh my gosh.
And that was how Cripicola was born. And then
That's so
he
cool.
realized that, well, what are the Bloods going to do now? So he went over and had a meeting with like one of the Atlanta leaders of the Bloods, told him what he was doing with the Crips, and said, I want to do that with you. And that's how Blood Pop was born. So
Wow.
they have these pop-ups all around Atlanta where they sell these sodas, Bloods and Crips next to each other, selling legit sodas. And it's becoming a big business. Jay-Z just rapped about it in his latest single.
Wow.
And it's blowing up. What'd you say, Cara?
That's amazing. Like I thought it was like a gag thing, but that's
No.
so
It's
cool.
not. And so, like I said, I was with Killer Mike Saturday night, and as we're leaving, he's like, "Hold up," and he gave me a 6-pack of 3 blood pops. The Cripa Cola is like a grape soda, and the
Mm.
blood pop is like a cherry cola.
Nice.
So they're made with like pure cane sugar, no high fructose corn syrup, none of that shit, which I really don't want to put in my body anyway.
Right.
And they are fucking delicious. They
Nice.
really are
That's so
delicious.
cool.
So that's what those sodas were. So if you watch Trigger Warning, right? Some
I'll
people,
have to do that now.
yeah, I recommend that series. It's really good. Really, really good.
I never even heard of that.
Watch it, Domo. You were never big into hip hop, were you, Domo?
Dude, I've always been into hip hop. What do you mean?
Well, you look like you were the way you dress and stuff, but whenever I try to talk hip hop with you, it was like I was speaking another language.
You know why?
Why?
Because I don't know if you remember. Well, obviously you probably remember this, but like, so back in school, you remember when we used to have like our quiet like work days?
Yeah.
But like I would always be kind of like in my headphones, like like rapping like or like singing super loud.
Yeah.
So where I'm from, when you're like
When you say where you're from, you're talking about
Southeast DC,
right. Okay.
when you're like singing stuff out loud, most of the times when the teacher speaks up and they're like, "Hey, what are you listening to?" And then like you tell them like, "Oh yeah, I'm listening to like Lupe Fiasco. I'm listening to Eminem." They're like, "Oh, well, let them sing it." And you're like, "Oh fuck." Like, and then you just get quiet. So then like every time you would ask me like, "Yo, what are you listening to?" I'm like, "Nothing." Like
You're like trying to like find someone I can talk to hip hop about, and you're saying, "Yeah."
Oh no.
I know.
All right. So, Domo, do you know the Far Side? Like, are you too young for that?
I might be too young for that.
Oh, dude, listen to Bizarre Ride to the Far Side and Lab Cabin, California.
Okay.
They are 2 of the greatest albums in rap ever recorded, and people like Lupe Fiasco will definitely agree with that.
Nice.
They're definitely an influence on that.
Mm-hmm.
But this will be on their network. That's why I ask.
Oh, sick.
I remember you like saying you like Nickelback one day. I was like, what the fuck?
What the fuck? Wait, hold. I feel like
Don't
you're talking
front.
about somebody else. Nah.
No, you said
no.
no, Domo.
Nah, dude. Nah.
There was
dude.
something Nickelback, and you were into it, and I was like, "What is happening?"
Nah, man.
No, that is stained in my mind.
That wasn't me. Cause I do remember. I do remember in college, like I had never been exposed to like rock music before college. So like when I was at SCAD, I was learning about like Aerosmith and Bon Jovi and like all of those like kind of old school hair bands for the first time. Like I'd never heard Black Sabbath before. I'd never heard like any of that stuff. So like I remember at that time I was getting to know a lot of that stuff for the first time, but Nickelback was definitely never on that list,
There
bro.
was there was something with Nickelback, and you were feeling it. I remember. I remember this. I was like, I had to have a moment with myself in my car to be like, what's happening in this world?
I feel like you're confusing me with somebody else, homie. Like
I'm not. I got to remember what it was. I don't remember. Maybe
Please
you were
do.
fucking with me once and I didn't catch on.
Maybe.
I definitely remember you.
Maybe
on some
because
level.
nah, man. Nah, bro.
All right, whatever you say.
Whatever I say. What do you mean? Whatever I say.
I'm trying to think of who else it could have been.
No, it was Domo. I'm not. I know this for a fact.
This
I am
see,
not mistaken.
this is what we call selective memory.
Oh, you don't know what you're talking about.
Are you sure you survived those SCAD days, okay, Sean?
I mean, there's a level of trauma I will admit to. There's definitely a level of trauma. I will admit to that.
Yo, speaking of, man, like
Speaking of trauma.
Oh boy.
no, it's not bad. It's just that like Cara was saying how she was invited back to SCAD recently.
Yeah.
And I was invited, Pat Quinn invited me back there. I think this was probably 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
Or maybe no, this
I
is
was gonna
maybe
say it was like 2 years since I went to Atlanta.
so
Yeah.
yeah,
I
this is
remember this.
probably like 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, because I think I was still working on Star Brand at the time.
Yeah, you were. I remember this.
Yeah. And like just setting foot in that place again was very scary.
Why?
I don't know. I had a weird like it looked completely different. Like they remodeled
Yeah.
everything. Like I
Yeah.
think when I went there, the building itself was white, but
Yeah.
then when I returned, it was black.
Yeah.
And like it was really it honestly, it was kind of scary just like being up in front of the class. Like I felt like I had just been there as a student not that long ago. And for
Right.
me to be up there in front of the class, then like actually as an expert was like scary.
I think what was scary about it for me was thinking about all of the artists that Sean had brought in for us. We were students like Canetti
Hmm.
and all them, and like, oh my god, I'm not on Canetti level. Why am I
Right,
here
right.
longer?
Well, all right. First of all, don't compare yourself to Eric.
No, no,
Nobody's on community level. Nobody's on that level. That's
no.
level. But I get the point.
Yeah.
Speaking of Eric,
Yes.
I'm starting to take on the 90-minute sketch moniker.
I saw that on your portfolio there. I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah. So recently, um, like as a way for me to kind of try to step my game up, and like I feel like, I've been working professionally now for like almost 10 years, and like I understand anatomy, perspective, page design, all that stuff. But
Wait, Domo, hold on. Oh, wait, go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
but
No,
at
my
this
screen froze and I looked up, and I realized it had been recording on a frozen screen. And I didn't know how long that had been happening, but it just flipped back. So
oh,
we're
okay.
good. Go ahead.
But I feel like I've never sort of tested myself in a
Right.
way. Like I've been drawing and doing everything I know, but I was really inspired not only by Eric but by Kim Jong-gi,
Yeah.
Mm,
and the way they think. So like I wanted to sort of test myself to see
Sure.
like what I could do without a pencil.
Right.
So I started doing 90-minute sketches
Right.
just to kind of get an idea of like what I can do. And I feel like for the most part, I'm learning a lot about myself as an artist and what I can do with my hand. Like it's
That's
such a
great.
weird concept to think about, right? But like you ever get those moments where you have an idea in your mind of what you want something to look like, but
Yeah.
then once you put it on paper, it's like, wait, that's not
That's every
mm.
day.
That's not at all what. So I've been kind of putting that to the test. Here's my, so this is like my, I don't know if the camera's on me right now, but this is like sort of my 90-minute sketchbook, and you can kind of see some of the sketches I've done. So I wanna kind of go towards the back, because these all of these drawings here I did with no pencil whatsoever. These are just straight up ink, just to kind of really test myself on, like,
Domo, hold on, because it's freezing again. It's not flipping over to you. I'm
I was
gonna.
gonna say I can't see Domos.
Yeah. I wonder if it's Domo. I'm gonna press pause on this, and then I'll press record again. So hold on one sec. All right, sorry about that. Do you remember what you were saying?
yeah, I was showing off my 90-minute sketches. Can you see them?
Yeah, totally.
So with a lot of these, they're just like an hour and a half drawings of no pencil sketch whatsoever, just straight up inks, just to kind of see what I could do with it, you know? Kind of test out my knowledge of anatomy and proportion, character design, stuff like that.
Is that straight brush?
No, it's just this Copic multi-liner pen.
Oh, nice.
That's
What
all I use.
size?
0.5.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's been a lot of fun, to be honest. Like it's been like a really cool kind of warm up, just to kind of see what I can do, you know?
Yeah, you're doing some great stuff there. 90 minutes.
Yes.
Wow.
I need to start doing that.
Yeah, it's a pretty fun exercise, honestly. Like, because I mean, it doesn't hurt, right? Like, you know,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's all practice. Like even the professional stuff, to some extent, is
Right, for sure.
practice, you know?
For sure.
And so like I feel like if I could get to like a really confident point in my art where I can just straight up like ink without even penciling, I feel like that could probably bring something new to the table with my art as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Look, when I see your work, it's hard for me to put the teacher down because I'm just used to having you as a student.
Yes, bring it out.
But I would like to see what you do with more time.
More time, nice.
Yeah, like more time invested in the artwork instead of trying to get it done fast. Like I'm curious what it would be given like the time to, even if it's just like like one drawing, like a pinup.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious to see like what you would do given a lot more time.
Yeah.
Now that's bad career advice, because you obviously, if you were slow, you would not be where you are. I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, for sure. I definitely do think that a lot of the stuff that I do, because of the industry that we work in, like it's like, you know, gotta go fast.
Right.
Yeah.
Which it is. It is. I mean, that's for sure. That's real.
I feel like I've been so frustrated with a lot of my work because it feels like I have kind of fallen into those like routines where everything is just shorthand and it doesn't feel as creative as it should be a lot of times. I'm like, man, this page, like, and I'm the type of person, after I've turned something in, I can't look at it. I can't read my old work anymore because I'm like, oh, I could have done this so much better, and you know.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm the same exact way.
Well, but I don't think you're an artist if you don't think like that, though, right? Like at the end of the day, if we're not growing, we're dying.
Right.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. I will say that's what I meant when I was talking about feeling like a cog. Like it was just hurry up and get it done and turn it in. Like and I was done feeling that way and feeling like my work was not my best.
Yeah. So do you have anything at all that you've done in your career that you can still look back on and be proud of, or not so much?
Yes. I mean, I'm really proud of what I did with Batman. I killed myself on that. I had a looser schedule. I had like a 5 or 6 week schedule on that,
Mm-hmm.
which was still working like 7 days a week and long days, but the material was a lot more fun to draw.
Mm,
So that stuff I still stand by.
nice.
And I did an issue of Scarlet Witch. I think was really
Oh yeah.
interesting. There was a lot of fun visual stuff to play with. Um, I'm trying to think. There's probably a couple other things I just can't think of off the top of my head that I did. It was not Mother Panic, I can tell you that.
Mhm. So why is that you're not proud of Mother Panic?
Um, that one was I was kind of getting to the end of the road where I was so tired of the way the industry was treating artists, where we were getting like I had worked on like 3 projects in a row where the scripts were really not good,
Mm,
and I was the one that was made to feel like I had to make it work better,
mm,
and
Yeah.
not the writer who they were, like Cara was saying, treating like royalty.
right.
And it was like the writer doesn't know this medium at all. I know it in and out. I taught it for 10 years, and
Mhm,
you're making me feel like I don't. And so I think I was really just frustrated,
mm,
depressed, and angry. And so when Mother Panic came along, it just, it was another one of those like situations where I just felt like the scripts weren't like they weren't hard to work from. They just weren't inspiring me at all.
mm,
Mm.
And Mother Panic was also DC put their corporate mitts on it when it was pitched to me. Like I went to lunch with Gerard and Shelley, who was the editor, and what they intended this book to be was not at all what it came out as,
mm,
because
Mm.
DC, like Tommy did the first arc, and Tommy created it with Gerard and designed what I think is one of the best character designs in the DC universe.
mhm,
Yeah.
I mean, she is badass, but she the Tommy's arc involved Batman. They were like, we'll need Batman in the first arc to get some eyes on it. And then DC was like, wait a minute. Because she existed in Gotham City. And they were like, you just do your own thing. It's Young Animal. But the minute they saw Batman in there, they stepped in. And they
mm,
were like, oh, wait a minute. And it changed everything.
Mm.
mm,
And it became very DCU, very corporate. When it was pitched to me that we were going to do a punk rock, like like just a punk rock hero who wasn't trying to be a good guy,
sure.
Yeah.
was just dealing with her own shit
Mhm,
and trying to set some things right in her life.
yeah,
And it was going to be really, really punk rock, and it just wasn't.
yeah,
I always feel so bad because Shelley's probably one of the best editors I've ever gotten to work with, and I like her a lot because she really wants to do those punk rock comics,
Yeah, she does.
but I feel like everything just keeps getting in her way, and I feel so bad. Like, I want those comics that Shelley wants to make, and I want to make them too, but yeah, Black Crown getting shut down, and just I want more Shelley work in the
Wait,
world.
Black Crown got shut down?
Yeah,
I
IDW
didn't know that.
canceled Black Crown.
When?
Oh gosh, a year or so ago, I
Maybe I
want to say.
did. Maybe I did know that. Maybe.
Because I was doing sporadic stuff for that, which was a lot of fun. And me and Shelley have been talking for a long time about getting my own series with Black Crown.
Oh yeah, she was working on me getting something going there too.
nice.
Yeah, it just never worked out.
Yeah, I know she's freelance editing now. Like she's on Bitter Root
Mm,
with Sanford and David.
That's pretty
yeah,
awesome.
But yeah, that's
yeah,
weird.
Shelley's one of the few editors I feel like there's a couple editors. Shelley's one of the few editors I feel has really like had my back the whole time I've known her, and like has really gone to bat for me.
Yeah, Shelley will be that way. She is loyal like that. That's
Yeah.
awesome for sure. All right, guys, we've been going a good bit here. Is there anything you wanted to talk about that we didn't touch on? Either of you?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'm gonna push stop here in a second. Thank you both for doing this.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, thank you. I'm gonna press stop, but we'll still be on here and we can say our goodbyes once I press stop. Okay.
Okay.
This is the Ink Pulp Podcast. This is the Ink Pulp Podcast. Comics, hip hop, life.